Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Camille and I teach English in a fun and authentic way. And today I am super excited because I'm here with a very special guest, Stu, who teaches British English. And we are going to compare American English versus British English, pronunciation, spelling, grammar, all sorts of things. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Stu, for being here. Could you introduce yourself for everyone?
Yeah, I'd love to. My name is Stu. I am from England originally. I now live in Japan, and I've been teaching English for 6 years.
Wow, that's amazing. All the way over in Japan. It's morning where you are. It's evening where I am.
Yeah, very, very different times.
Yeah. So I always get people asking me, what should I start with? Should I start and learn British English or should I learn American English? And what do you think are some reasons that people choose British English?
I think that generally people, I guess the divide is between Europe and the rest of the world, because obviously Europe is closer to the UK, so generally European nations will, not always, but generally European nations will pick British English just because of proximity. But I think as people get older, a reason a person may switch over to British is because of they've spent most of their life just learning American. They didn't realise there was a difference. So they heard another variety and decided they wanted to try something different. But to be honest, it doesn't matter. You can choose whatever you want, whichever style you prefer. It's really a style choice. It's not really it doesn't really determine anything in terms of, it doesn't make you more intelligible or anything like that. You're just speaking a language. So it's really a style choice, and whichever you prefer.
Yeah, that's good. I think a lot of people maybe choose American English because they like Hollywood or the movies or certain TV shows or things like that. But from my perspective and from other people I've talked to, a lot of times American women think that the British men are super sexy with their accent. So they're like, oh my goodness, maybe it sounds exotic or something like that. So I think that's always interesting and kind of funny as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the grass is always greener.
Yeah,
I think that's really true. The key thing. And to be honest, and whenever we see something that's different to ours, we're interested in it. So yeah, it's a very interesting part of hearing someone speak, and that's why even a learner's own accent is completely fine, because it creates intrigue for native speakers, I think.
Yeah, that's so true. Do you think that it's easy for language learners to understand both the American and British accent?
It's experience-based, just like everything in life. So whatever one you've had more experience with, you'll tend to be able to understand that one a lot better. And we often hear students say, oh, I don't understand British English at all, but it's just because of their level of experience listening to or understanding that variety of English. So that's all.
Yeah.
And they've probably spent most of the time in American. So yeah, I think it can be, but it's just time. You need to take time and put effort into practicing.
Yeah, that's good. And do you think it's wise to try to learn both of them? Both British accent and American accent?
I don't think it's possible to be in between the two, to be honest with you. I mean, there might be some small things that you do. Some students come to me and they say, I speak both British and American. And to be honest, that's very, very difficult to do, in my opinion. And I think that when that situation happens with students, that actually they're referring to individual words. And native speakers do exactly the same. So in England, the word I would pronounce advertisement is changing over to advertisement as we speak. So there's these things happening because of TV and stuff, even within native speaking countries.
So interesting. Yeah, I always tell people, once you get to a good level, as far as speaking, I feel like you should just choose one accent or the other, because it's hard, like you said, to do a mix of both. You're going to be confused, I think. But as far as listening and comprehension, once you get to a good solid level, say in American English, you can start watching some British shows or listening to British podcasts, trying to understand the British accent as well. But I say, as far as speaking, choose one to limit any confusion that you might face.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the key question all learners need to ask is, why are they learning English? If you're learning English to speak to people, if you're Brazilian and you're learning English to speak to other Brazilians in Brazil, then perhaps learning how to listen to multiple different people is irrelevant, So I find it strange that some learners try to practice, for example, listening to the Scottish accent when maybe they never will ever speak to someone who speaks a Scottish accent. Now, whilst it's useful, it's just inefficient for your learning time. It adds a lot of time on, and maybe that's just for when you're in the upper advanced or advanced level. To really push yourself.
Yeah, something more for fun aside from learning, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I have some different vocabulary words that we use here over in the States, and I just wanted to say these words and hear if you recognize them and what word you would say in British English. Okay? So, for example, we would say disappointed.
So, yeah, I think we use some of these as well, but definitely I think the predominance is probably on the word gutted.
Okay,
For disappointed, for sure, yeah.
That's what I thought. And what about for the word pleased?
Yeah, chuffed is used quite a lot throughout England. Yes, another British slang that we tend to use, for sure.
Yeah, and tired?
Knackered. I always use the word knackered when talking about being tired.
Definitely British. And really, we use the word really a lot.
So we use the word really a lot as well. It depends on the situation. So you might hear on TV, it's a characteristic of English people to use the word bloody, but it's an interesting one. In the past, it was seen as a swear word. So, but over time, it's kind of begun to neutralize a little bit because it referred to blood, and I think there's some history via religion that made it a word that you shouldn't be said. But as time has progressed, it's so frequently used that.
And it's not a swear word anymore.
Depends on the generation, I guess. Yeah. Some people might think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's gradually adjusting.
So interesting. And what about the word apartment? We say apartment.
So we say flat. Yeah. Or block of flats or flat for individual. Yeah.
Definitely different. Elevator.
Lift.
Restroom.
Loo or toilet. Yeah.
Okay. Trash.
Rubbish.
Okay.
Rubbish,
and like a shot in your arm.
An injection?
Yes.
So we would say jab.
That is so different, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm going to the pharmacy. Do you say pharmacy?
I guess it depends on the place, but we use chemist a lot in the UK for a lot of places, yeah.
And I thought this was interesting. Underwear in the US.
Yeah, we use the word pants. So actually this word confuses a lot of Japanese kids because the word pants is used for underwear in Japan, but then they learn American word pants meaning trousers. So makes
and that was my other word, which was pants. Pants for us is trousers then for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, trousers. We use trousers.
Yeah, that is just a sampling of the vocabulary to show the difference because these are the things that you use and these are the things we use. The vocabulary in England and the vocabulary in the United States. It is different. Right. I see how it could create some confusion.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I think it comes down to what you need English for, so...
Totally.
You don't need to worry about these small differences too much. But if you're going to live in the UK and you've only studied American English, then just be aware of it.
Yeah, totally. That's good advice. And what about accent? I think that's one of the biggest differences between American English and British English, the accent. Let's just maybe go over some of the letters, some of the sounds, and see how you say it and see how I say it. So with the R, I feel like in American English, we clearly pronounce the R. Like, I
Yeah.
saw a car. And
Yeah.
what would you say in British English?
Car. So R instead of that R sound. So
Yeah. Is the sound hard for Brits?
Well, obviously it can be because it's a sound that actually we don't produce so frequently, especially towards the end of words. Because
Yeah.
and something I learned recently is if this is the top of your mouth, for example, and this is the tongue, Americans, for their pronunciation, their tongue is a bit further back like this, but we actually don't do that. Ours is a bit more flat. So
Okay.
it creates a bit of a difference in the sound, and I think maybe we skip between sounds a lot faster because of that. But when you have the
Okay.
rhotic R, maybe you put
Yeah.
more pressure on it. So
So interesting. And what
Definitely.
about like when you have the letter W? Like I saw, like often I hear Brits say "sar" or "Sarah." It sounds so strange, and I was like a little confused by it at first. Is it in your region, or is it in certain regions of England, or can you talk
good
about
question.
that a
A
little bit?
Soraka, yeah, Soraka, like an intrusive R, yeah, something that just jumps in
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it should be there.
yeah. So that's common.
Well, I can't speak for every single accent. There's like 40 in the UK, but
Oh
I
my
can say that
goodness.
there's going to be some similarities, especially the southern regions will probably have a similar pronunciation to mine.
Because what do you know where your accent comes from, or the name of your accent?
My accent, I'd say, is estuary English. I was born in the southeast of England, and my dad is a Cockney, so he was born in the centre of London. And my mum is a Brummie, which is Birmingham, so
Okay.
two different accents. And then we moved to the other side of England, so it could be a muddle, really, but I'd say it's probably closest to estuary English.
Okay, but you've had a lot of exposure to a lot of different accents around England.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. A lot of exposure.
That's cool. Yeah. And what about the T sound? Because the T, we say it with double T when it's between vowels, or the T's between vowels. It sounds like a D.
Yeah,
Water, water sounds like a D, but in British English, how do you say it?
Depends where you're from. So if it was RP, it'd probably be more like water. It would be, you'd hear it more.
Okay. Okay.
You'd hear it more pronounced. But if you are from maybe the southeast of England, it'd probably be a glottal stop. So it'd be more like water.
Water.
So you don't even hear
Okay.
it. You know. So
Wow, so interesting. And what about like water bottle? How do you say bottle?
the classic one that many people say is a bottle of water. And whenever someone asks me, I always pronounce the T's on purpose, just because I know what they want. You know.
Yes.
So, but obviously, the classic line is a bottle of water, which just sounds like one big
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
We like to say that just to try to sound British as Americans. What? Yes.
Yeah, it's a super common one, isn't it?
Yeah, so funny. And what about the O? For example, in American English, we would say hot. It's hot out.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's super different, but
Okay.
hot,
Okay.
sound.
It's a slight difference between the O
A
sound.
tad, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have the A sound as well. So the A, there would be a pretty big difference for some words. Like we would say hand.
Hand, yeah.
And how would you say hand? It'd be more like
Hand.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Longer on the A. Well, how about we move on to... Oh, okay. Maybe I have a few words that I think are pronounced different. Like schedule. We say schedule in American English. And how do you say it in British English?
I would say schedule, but again, that's another one of those words that seems to be transferring across
Okay.
to American in certain parts, or it's a location that historically didn't get changed once, hasn't had so much influence from the central part of England, so maybe like Wales or Scotland, where they still have that k sound in that situation.
Okay, interesting. So some people are starting to say schedule in England then as well.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't hear any Americans saying schedule.
yeah, I guess so.
And the word privacy, we say privacy in
Yeah,
British.
privacy.
Yeah, so interesting. I find myself sometimes correcting my students, and then I'm like, actually, you're studying British English. No, carry on with that.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yes, yes. Oh, this is a good one. Herb. We say herb.
So, yeah. Herb.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. I remember like cooking with my mom and just to like say a joke, I'm like, Mom, do you need some herbs?
She must have been confused, I guess.
I know, a little bit. And then I think the last one is adult. We say adult.
Adult, yeah. The stress is slightly different on the word,
Yeah. So interesting.
That's interesting.
And then spelling. So spelling, I noticed that like where we do ER, like center ending in ER, theater ending in ER. In British English, what is it?
RE is quite a
RE.
common spelling ending, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. And then also in American English, we do the ending for like the word license. We do NSE. But in British English, you do...
NCE.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yes.
happens quite frequently, actually.
Or I feel like you guys add an extra letter with the O because we spell color COLOR.
Yeah,
Or-
so OU. We have
Yeah.
OU, like colour, favourite. There's quite a few words with that.
Oh yeah, so
happens
it's
as
adding
well,
a U.
unfortunately.
It's adding a U
Yeah.
in. Yeah, color, favorite, some different words. And then
100%.
also with the L, the American English, traveled, canceled, we just do one.
Yeah, I'm interested to know what point that this kind of changed. But yeah, obviously we have a double L for a lot of those words for sure.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
interesting.
And I would say as well, some of the slang is different, of course, in British English versus American English. And do you have any slang that you want to share from Britain? Any popular slang, even just to say things like, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm mad, anything that comes to mind?
There's a bunch. I mean, I really like the gutted, chuffed, and those things are kind of slang words. But
Yeah.
in terms of, I mean, great. Everyone has a word for great, and it seems to vary depending on where you're from. You know, if you want to say I'm great or I'm really good or something like this, there's like class or ace or amazing or chuff. No, not chuffed. Lush or wicked. I use wicked these days. I don't know what
Okay.
happened, but that's a very
Okay.
confusing one for learners.
Yeah, wait, what? What's
Yeah.
going on? So wicked just means happy or great?
Yeah, it means great.
Great.
If you, it's really situation. You have to be really situational. Have some
Yeah.
situational awareness on these kind of things. You know, so it's important to look at the whole situation rather than just the individual words when
Right.
speaking in English.
We discussed a lot of differences between American English, British English. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that we should?
In terms of language, no. I mean, obviously, if anyone visits the two countries, they'll probably notice a few cultural differences, of course. But
Yeah.
it's something to be aware about whilst learning language is that when we speak to people from different places, people are from different cultures and people act in different ways. And just because you speak in one way to one person doesn't mean the other person finds that as acceptable. So you should always be cautious if you just met someone for the first time. Because I say that because I hear some students immediately swearing or something. It's a new word they've learned, and I feel like, again, it's a situational thing, and
Yeah.
on the first meeting, obviously be wary of that, and only in certain situations can those things work. So yeah, just be aware of that.
Yeah. And if somebody is really on the fence, they're like, I don't have urgency to learn either accent. I like them both. Help me choose. What would be your advice? What can be
Don't choose one.
deciding factor?
Very easy. I mean, we've obviously we've been talking about North American English and RP basically when we talk about British and American accent. I think they're the most commonly known, not the
Yeah.
most commonly used in terms of RP. Less than 2% of people in the UK use it, but obviously there's, like we said earlier, there's 40 different British accents and multiple accents in America as well.
Wow.
There's a lot to choose from. So when we say British, you have to distinguish a bit further if you're really interested in accent. But I think that for me, the person's natural accent, their native accent, is actually fine. What we're trying to do is really clear up the pronunciation and be as clear as possible so that you can communicate with everyone.
Yeah.
So accent doesn't need to get in the way of that. You can look at someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger and realize that guy speaks to millions of people on a daily basis. You know, he was the governor in America. So his English level is obviously high enough to communicate, but he has a thick Austrian accent. You know, you can hear it. So you have to realize that these things are in play, but it adds to you. It's your original character, you know, and it's important to keep that originality, I think, because it creates that intrigue. That grass is always greener. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what, you know, it's important. Yeah.
So your advice is just choose one. It really is not that big of a deal.
If there's no difference between the two, just choose one that you enjoy, you know, the style that you prefer. It's a style choice, you know. So it's like a Gucci bag. So you choose which one works for you. You know, not everyone needs a Gucci bag. You know, not everyone needs a RP accent. So
yeah, that's good advice. I think at the end of the day, if you're enjoying learning English, that's the most important thing. Doesn't matter 100%. What accent you choose. I think choose something that will bring you joy. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Listen to a bunch of different accents. Have fun with it. Yeah.
100%. That's important. Just have fun with language, and always ask yourself why. Why are you doing it? You'll find direction from that.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And
no worries.
I feel like I've learned a lot. And I just want to thank you guys as well for being here. Please write below in the comments, have you chosen American English or British English? Which accent are you learning? And also write maybe more slang words in the comments, things that we haven't mentioned, because there are so many words and we want to learn with you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
I always say ciao, ciao. It started out because it's goodbye in both Portuguese and Italian. And then I just kept it in there.
I don't know anyone else who says that apart from me. So that's interesting.
Oh, you say ciao, ciao.
Always. Always. And everyone always comments. And no one says it. And everyone always says,
say it.
Why are you saying that? That's not English. That's hello and goodbye in Italian. Or because I have quite a lot of Italian followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we grab some words from other cultures, you know. And
that's so funny. So funny.